Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program live on our Facebook page, that's Radyo Pilipinas World Service, and you can also hear us live on audio streaming at Evox PBS Receiver app. So join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Continuing the developments in the impeachment or the upcoming impeachment trial of the Vice President Sara Duterte, the Philippine Constitution Association, or PhilConsa, has said that the Senate, sitting as an impeachment court, raised constitutional concerns when it returned the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte to the House of Representatives. In a statement, the PhilConsa, through its chairperson, former Supreme Court Chief Justice Renato Puno, said the Senate action raises grave constitutional questions and challenges the integrity of the impeachment process. PhilConsa added or warned that it may constitute the grave abuse of discretion and risks undermining the most fundamental principle of the constitutional democracy, and that is the public office is a public trust. The PhilConsa added that the accountability of public officials cannot be overstressed and must never be evaded through procedural artifice. And the PhilConsa said among the constitutional concerns raised are the grave of abuse of discretion, whether the Senate unlawfully suspended its jurisdiction already validly acquired as an impeachment court. So that's similar to what the proponents of the impeachment trial against the Vice President Sara Duterte. And another is encroachment on the House exclusive power, whether requiring the House to certify compliance with the one-year ban infringes upon the House's sole prerogative under Article 11, Section 3 of the Constitution. Whether imposing novel requirements not found in the Constitution or Senate rules constitutes a circumlocutory device designed to delay or defeat the trial is also a question, it's said by, or the PhilConsa said, and that statement is very similar to what the incoming representative of the party list, that's Representative-elect Laila De Lima, said that that delay is or defeat the trial is also a question. So another issue is whether raising possible defenses on behalf of the respondent comprises the impartiality of the Senate as an impeachment court. So the critics of that motion the critics of that motion said that the trial must continue so that Vice President Sara Duterte must be held accountable to all the wrongdoings as stated in the articles of impeachment. And also, lastly, PhilConsa said there is a fundamental question of law. So the PhilConsa asked like this: so is the mere lack of certification from the House of Representatives sufficient to justify to remand of the case and suspension of trial? And PhilConsa submits that, as they said, such requirement exists under the Constitution or established impeachment practice. So to create such a requirement post facto undermines both the separation of power and the rule. So that's what the chairperson of the PhilConsa, former Chief Justice Renato Puno, said. So citing legal precedents, PhilConsa said that once the impeachment court validly acquired jurisdiction, it is not lost by subsequent happenings. As they said, once the Senate is clothed with jurisdiction as an impeachment court upon receipt of the articles of impeachment, or that jurisdiction cannot be lost or suspended by mere procedural acts. So it remains until the final resolution or dismissal by the court itself. And the PhilConsa calls upon the Senate to uphold its constitutional duty and proceed with the impeachment trial that's in accordance with the Constitution and the rule of law. So any act or device that circumvents this duty gravely imperils the democratic institution. So they pointed out that that at stake is not merely the fate of one official, but the integrity of the constitutional as a whole, or by itself. So the impeachment is the people's mechanism to enforce accountability of public officials. So it must not be thwarted by procedural invention or partisan maneuver. So yesterday there was an interview with Senator Gatchalian, and he has the same sentiments that the PhilConsa has provided. So again, the impeachment is the people's mechanism to enforce accountability of public officials. So the key word to that is the accountability of public officials. So that's why the impeachment court the impeachment court has convened, so that public officials who have done wrongdoings must be held accountable.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And also, speaking of the remanding of returning of the impeachment process back to House of Representatives, earlier this week, Senator Risa Hontiveros said that the articles of impeachment against Vice President Sara Duterte to the House of Representatives has not terminated the process. She reiterated that the process is not terminated, but warned that it risks triggering a constitutional deadlock and undermining public trust. Senator Hontiveros expressed frustration over the 18-5 vote that remanded or returned the impeachment complaint, calling it a step backward after the Senate had already convened as an impeachment court. Hontiveros, one of the 5 senators who voted against the motion of Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, said that the justification for returning the articles is to seek clarification from the House on the 1-year bar rule was unnecessary, as he quoted, as she quoted, and could have been addressed directly with House prosecutors through certification or compliance. So, apart from Senator Risa Hontiveros, Senator-elect Tito Soto III has said that the move of the Senate through the motion of Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is unconstitutional and unnecessary. So she warned that forcing the House to act on a motion it never initiated could lead to a constitutional standoff, or as we call it, it's a constitutional crisis. So the senator also pointed out that the motion's vague language, which its sponsors insisted that was not a dismissal, contained implications of suspension, dismissal, and lack of jurisdiction. So this, she said, could signal an intentional delay. So earlier this week, Senator Bato de la Rosa really wanted to dismiss the impeachment complaint against the vice president, but Senator Cayetano proposed or created a move to to not dismiss the complaint against the vice president, but to return it to the House so that so that two issues will be or must be resolved. So that's whether the whether the complaint complied with the 1-year rule ban, and also if the 20th Congress can try or can actually sit as a judge of the impeachment court. But then Senator Hontiveros emphasized that she and Senators Aquilino Pimentel III, Grace Poe, Nancy Binay, and Sherwin Gatchalian will continue to push for the trial to proceed. So, when asked whether the Senate's move could be deemed unconstitutional, Senator Hontiveros said such a question, if formally raised, will be up to the Supreme Court. And if you can recall, there is a separation of powers that needs to be considered. So that's a separation of power between the executive and the legislative, as well as the judiciary.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And we will have to catch up on those developments regarding the impeachment trial. Though Senator Sherwin Gatchalian said, although the impeachment trial has been remanded or returned to the House of Representatives, he said in an interview that it is ongoing. It is started to roll of the complaint. So we have to watch out for that. And the decision will be coming from the House of Representatives. And also, when we come back, we will hear from the president, particularly last night when he conducted or when he spearheaded the Vindunur, which is the annual tradition of the executive department. That's when president meets the diplomatic corps to meet them every New Year or in Independence Day. So we'll be hearing from the president's speech last night. So Front and Center will be right back after these messages.
Mas patatagin pa ang relasyon at ugnayan ng Pilipinas at Singapore. Yan ang binigyan din ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa kanyang pahayag sa joint press conference kaharap ng Singaporean delegation.
Singapore remains one of our country's most important investors. I express my hope that we will remain an important destination for these investments and that the collaboration of our private sectors, both in the Philippines and in the region, will further deepen and adapt to global developments.
Hindi naman kilalimutan ng Pangulo na pasalamatan ang Singaporean government para sa kanilang suporta sa mga Pilipinong naniniraan at nagtatrabaho sa kanilang bansa.
I also extend our sincere appreciation to Singapore for ensuring the welfare, security, and safety of the 200,000 more or less Filipino community residing in Singapore.
Para sa iba pang mga balita at impormasyon, manatiling nakatuto. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko 738.
Sa paglulunsad ng Brigada Eskwela 2025, siniguro ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na mas malawak ang suportang ibibigay ng pamahalaan para sa mga guro na kanyang itinuturing bilang mga bayani.
Para sa akin, kayo yung mga talagang hero. Susuportahan namin kayo. Hindi lamang sa financial support, kung hindi, pati na sa mga retraining. Ito nga, yung pinabawasan nating administrative duties, yung mga ganyang klase para makapagturo kayo ng mabuti.
Taos-puso ring pinasalamatan ng Pangulo ang ating mga guro para sa kanilang delegasyon sa pagtuturo.
Kaya maraming salamat sa tulong ninyo at sa lahat ng tuturuan ninyo mga kabataan, napakalaki ang utang na loob nilang lahat at namin lahat sa inyo, mga teacher.
Para sa iba pang mga balita at impormasyon, manatiling nakatuto. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko 738.
This is a public service announcement.
Discipline is the key. Umiwas sa aksidente sa daan. Ang pagmamaneho ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad, hindi basta mapaandar lang ang sasakyan. Kilatisin ang sarili, ang kahandaan sa manibela, siguruhing inyong konsentrasyon ay hindi magagambala. Importante rin na ating laging isipin, init ng ulo ay huwag pairalin, bagkus kaligtasan ng lahat ang siyang dapat unahin. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
This is a public service announcement
Public service announcement.
from PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
This is a public service announcement.
Isang paalala mula sa National Telecommunications Commission, National Capital Region o NTC-NCR. Ang kanilang Oplan Contra Text Scams. Binabalaan ng publiko na sakaling kayo ay makatanggap ng kakaibang text messages sa mga di kilalang numero o di kaya ay mga text messages na may kahina-hinalang mga link. Huwag pansinin, huwag pindutin, huwag i-click ang link.
Huwag i-click ang link.
Ipagbigay alam agad sa NTC website ntc.gov.ph o kaya'y sumulat sa kanilang email na contratextcam@gmail.com. Sa mga panahong ito, huwag padaya, maging wais na madla. Makibahagi sa Oplan Contra Text Scam. This is a public service announcement
Public service announcement.
from PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service and Radyo Pilipinas.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome back to Front and Center with me, Jerome Toledo. So we'll try to play that speech of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the Vendinner celebration as part of the Independence Day celebration that was took place last night. But first, we have on the line the former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. He's none other than Justice Antonio Carpio. Justice Carpio, good morning. This is Jerome Toledo from Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning sa mga tagakinig natin.
Okay. The Philippine Constitution Association or PhilConsa has released a statement saying that the motion that was set by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano to remand the impeachment complaint against the Vice President Sara Duterte or has been remanded to the House of Representatives. So, can I get your reaction on this? Justice Carpio?
Ang tingin ko, they use the term remand, pero it's not really a remand, no?
Mm-hmm.
Dahil they said the case is not being dismissed by the impeachment court. Second, they issued a summons to VP Sara Duterte to answer the impeachment complaint, and they said that the prosecution can reply within 5 days. No, so tumatakbo. They retained jurisdiction. If you look at the content of the letter of Presiding Officer Jesus Cordero to the House, he's only asking for a certification that the House complied with the 1-year constitutional ban.
Right.
That is not a remand. They're just asking for a certification, and binalik nila yung articles. But the term remand under the rules of court is different. Binalik mo yung kaso, and for that other court to take up the case. Ito hindi naman. They continued because they issued a summons.
Okay.
So, and
Go ahead.
Remand lang was, I think, that's not correctly used. So it was not a remand because they only asked for a certification.
Okay.
So the remand means binalik mo yung kaso.
Yeah.
Hindi naman nila binalik because they continued to say, Sara Duterte, you answer within 15 days, and after that, prosecution, you file your reply. So it's not a remand the way that people normally understand it and lawyers normally understand. They just wanted a certification. Yun lang.
Right.
They could have said, issue us a certification, tapos na.
Right. Okay, but of course, the senator also pointed out the motion's vague language. So that's what I'm talking about is Senator Risa Hontiveros' statement that she pointed out that the motion's use of language is very vague because
That was already put into writing by the presiding officer. Yun na ang implementation. At saka sinabi ng presiding officer in the order to the House to submit the certification, there is no dismissal. So they retain the case. Pag sinabi mo, we are not dismissing, so they retain the case.
Okay.
And then sabi niya, the House of the 20th Congress will manifest. That's the next Congress will manifest if they want to continue, and the Senate of the 20th Congress will decide whether they want to accept. So crossover na yon. So
Carried
hindi
over.
yung House of the 19th Congress that will decide. Ang kanilang gagawin lang, i-issue yung certification. They have nothing to do beyond that.
Okay. So meaning to say Justice Carpio, tuloy po ito. I mean,
Yeah,
gumugulong
I
lang,
said that
gumugulong na to.
The impeachment proceeding is alive. It is, as of now, we still with the impeachment court of the in the Senate, and they're waiting for Sara to answer.
Yeah.
And they will require the prosecution to file the reply, and turn over nila to the next Senate.
So meaning prerogative po ito ng impeachment court. Although prerogative na po ito ng impeachment court
Of the 20th Congress
of the
to
20th.
accept. Because they cannot also bind the next Senate, the 20th Senate. They cannot bind. They cannot also bind the 20th House. So sabi nila, they will have to manifest. The House of the 20th Congress will have to say, we will continue to prosecute. And the Senate of the 20th Congress will say, we will continue to hear and we finally decide. Tama yun.
Okay. So just one question.
So, ang mali lang yung procedure, mali yung term ginamit. It's not really a remand. Second, mali rin kasi they should not have ordered the House. They should have ordered the prosecutors. And it's not them. It should be upon the request of Sara. A matter of defense yan eh.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'm down to one question na lang po, Justice Carpio. So, meaning to say, tatawid po ito ng 20th Congress, possible ito?
Yes, yan ang implication ng sinabi ng Senate ni Chis Escudero that the House of the 20th Congress will manifest that they will continue, and the Senate of the 10th Congress will decide whether they want to accept. So tama yun kasi they cannot impose it on the 20th Congress. No.
Okay, so no matter what some of the senators do to delay the process, it will continue.
Wala na, tapos na, because that is, wala na. They already issued the summons eh. And the next thing that we await will be the reply. After that, July 30 na tayo.
July 30
It will
na.
now be the next Senate.
And this week, I think Sara Duterte is about to reply to that writ of summons. So
Yeah, she has to reply because that was the summons, no?
Okay.
She might, and there is no extension yan, non-extendable yan eh.
Yes, oo. Non-extendable. So, kailangan niya itong sagutin sa loob ng 15 or tama po ba?
10 days.
10 days yan. 10 days.
Calendar days.
Okay. So with that, abangan po natin ito. Babantayan natin itong mga kaganapan sa impeachment, sa paparating na impeachment trial kay Vice President Sara Duterte. And I hope hindi po kayo magsawa na tanggapin na aming tawag, Justice Carpio.
We are always welcome to call. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice, former Justice of the Supreme Court, the none other than Antonio Carpio. And with that, we conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our production and technical personnel, this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay, love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.